Monica,
Yes, I'm here.
are you able to see your webcam?
Um,
Like, can you see Corey?
oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we go.
Okay, I thought something was wrong. Okay, I was
No,
about to
no,
freak
that
out.
was me. I hadn't put myself on yet. I have myself off and on mute, but okay, so I'm here. Fully
Okay, I was like, what is going on here?
here. I am fully here. Hey, Corey.
How you doing, Corey? You're on mute.
Sorry. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
I will resend it to you.
All right. All right. I'm just going to take myself off just for a brief second.
Rob should be joining shortly. Since we're waiting on Rob, I'm gonna see what happens when I put myself on mute. See if it mutes everybody. I think it mutes everybody.
What's good with you? How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you, Rob?
Good, good, good. We had a little technical difficulty getting in, but we are here. We are here.
Good.
How you doing, Corey?
Good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, I should say.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, where's our intro music as we come into the zone? To the zone.
All right, it's coming.
Okay. Yeah, all right, all right. Gotta feel that. Gotta feel that. That's right. Saturday morning is money morning. Time to make this money. Have this good conversation. All right, all right. Okay, welcome everybody. We're into our Saturday ritual. We have this twice a month. This is our mastermind session today. We have one of our panelists who is a little under the weather still and will be joining us hopefully for the next one. But we wanted to tackle some issues today, some real issues, and really is. And today's issue is going to be turning your hustle into a legitimate business, or how to. And one of the reasons why we wanted to tackle this is there's a lot of things going on in the economy right now, as you already know. We do have government money out there that is available. We have people who've been hustling all sorts of way, whether you're hustling hair extensions, your eyelashes, whether you're doing Uber, hustling food, doing music. Everybody is doing something or should be doing something because we have to get liberated here. We can't expect things to just happen on their own. So we need to make sure that we are again the CEOs and CFOs of our own personal services corporation. So you are the chief executive officer and the chief financial officer. And a lot of times when I talk about this, I say you are the chief financial officer first, because you need to make sure that the decisions you're making, are going to take care of you financially. And then we always talk about the long game. Okay. So before we get into some of the housekeeping, so today again, it's how to turn your hustle into a legitimate business. That's the thing we'll be discussing. But let's get into a little bit of background about the group. We are the Business Growth Group. We specialize on small business development and personal growth and development. Those are the two areas. So if you're looking to, as an individual, you're looking to grow, make sure you stay employed, actually rise above your peers, get better positioned in the company that you are, see your life move forward. Hey, this is a great place to pick up some of those tips. Okay, because you're interacting in new circles with people that maybe have a little bit more experience than you. Great. But we're also here to learn. Okay, we're reflective practitioners. The other piece is, besides the business growth group, we're in the financial space too. We want to make sure that whether you're a small business owner, and you're trying to get your business to scale, I'm looking for people who are have a growth mindset or growth oriented. We want to make sure that that we're around like-minded people. And also the panel here, we've done a lot. So it's not like we're talking to you from a space where we haven't launched multiple businesses. We haven't been investors. We we're not going to come at you from the financial place where, oh, we're going to be financial analysts and this and that and the other. We make money, and we're going to invite you, if you're in this group and if you take action. Again, nothing will happen for you, nothing will change until you take action. If you take action, you're going to see some results. All right, so let's introduce our panelists. So Brandy, would you introduce our team, please?
Okay, today's panelists, we have up first Monica Moulton Williams. She's in the insurance and financial services industry. Then we have Mr. Corey Stevens, entrepreneur,
that dude,
consultant, and investor.
that dude.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Rob Mason, entrepreneur, business coach, and investor.
Yay, that other dude. Yeah. All right. And today we don't have with us Mr. Andrew Cisneros, but you'll see him hopefully on the next show if he's well. Okay. So anyway, so welcome to the Business Growth Group. Before we get into today's discussion, from the intro, anybody want to add anything? Monica, Corey, you want to add anything?
No, I'm
No,
good.
let's just get into it.
All
Yeah.
right, good. All right, so this week we've had several things that were going on. I got a ton of calls from different people. I had a real good session with one of my mentees who I'm coaching on. I've been coaching her to get her business off the ground, and a lot of things just kind of hit us. And for those of you guys who are just getting into this with us, we do everything organically. We don't sit here and here's the notes and this, and it won't be real then. So what you see is what you get, and it's live, unscripted, and we think that has a lot more value. So even when you guys throw questions, nobody knows where these things are coming from, and we just have to jump in to add them. So at the end of the call, or the last 15 minutes of the call, just so you know, if you have questions as we go on, please type them into the chat as we go along, and then Brandy will ask questions of the panel. So hopefully, and then when you come to these at times, we'll probably, we'll post the subject maybe the day before like we did this time. And as you can think about things, if you have a list of questions, as soon as you get in, go ahead and throw one or two in there, and that will be ready. Okay, so turning your hustle into legitimate business. Now, everybody starts somewhere when we start getting into business, and most of the time we get that itch, and we get tired of looking at the other people and their life looks good, and it seems like everything is rocking for them. And then you figure out, oh, they have a business, and their business is booming, and they're doing well, or they have a business on the side, and they seem like they always have their money right, hair done, nails done, everything done. They just seem to be rocking. Nice, clean car every Saturday, Sunday. And then after a while, you kind of say, well, why not me? And then you decide to jump in. And it always starts as a hustle. Hey, we're hustling, we're moving, we're doing things. But there's several keys to that. And then some of those things, are going to start with planning. But let's hear, so to the panel, what were some of the first things when it came to getting in business? What were some of the motivating factors that got you there? So let's go to you, Corey, first.
Yeah, as far as for me, when it came to really wanting to pursue outside interests, it became a matter of flexibility. It became a matter of autonomy. Just really wanting more control over the different things that I was doing. I became dissatisfied just with not having any control over my schedule. And I just realized it was something that, it became a quality of life thing. I wanted to live my life a certain way. So I had to make some decisions that would have allowed me or allow me, enabled me to do so.
Okay. And were there any parts of that made you ever want to quit or jump back? Did you start automatically going full time, or did you start it as a side hustle first and then you turned it into a business?
No, when I first cut it, I cut completely. I'm not saying that's the best thing to do. I didn't really have an organized plan. I just decided to say I woke up. Actually, I woke up. I had a conversation. Uh, the next morning, I had to get on a plane. When I was in the air, that's when I made a decision. When I landed, I called my dad and I let him know what I was doing. He said, "I already know that you made up your mind." And then I called the person that my supervisor, and I said, or my manager, and I said, "Look, I'm out." And it took a month to transition out. So,
Wow. Wow. All right, Monica, you're multifaceted, and and then you're a momager as well. So tell me about the business itch over there and what's going on over there in your household.
Well, in my household, because my daughter at the age of 16 decided she wanted to be in this entertainment industry where she was singing, dancing, someone needed to follow her and someone needed to protect her and make sure that everything that she was involved in, I had a hand in, that I knew about it because I wanted to. This industry can be really, really tough. And so I still have my 9 to 5, but my side hustle is basically being the momager. And then I have my own marketing company that I actually pretty much run and coincide with her business. So it's just basically a marketing company that I run for her. So that I can market her, I can protect her from a financial standpoint to make sure that she's not taken advantage of. So it's just about, for me, it was just making sure I took care of her. But then in the process, I started to enjoy having that freedom to be able to be my own boss and not have to hire someone to be that marketer for her or promoter. So,
Going
but I
into
have a
it,
lot of
it's not like
stories. I have a lot of stories about other people's hustle because mine is really, I mean, I have a hustle, but I don't think mine is exciting as some people's hustles that I've had a chance to interview and just talk about their hustles that have turned into
uh,
like major bags.
I'm not even gonna believe you there. I saw you. Actually, I think I talked to you once and you were in London doing your thing. Okay, so that
Um,
hustle is taking you across the ocean, and you sitting there, eating in nice places, doing your thing, working, and I've seen you, girl. I'm ratting you out right now. So yeah, let's put it out
yeah,
there.
that was the hustle that I was working. I had a business partner and we worked with the hair industry
Yeah,
and product marketing and stuff like that. We had a product for one of our stylists where she had these oils, and then she had like this really interesting air about her. Like when she walked in a room, everybody wanted to be around her because she had that electrifying appeal. So we actually played in on her strengths of walking into a room and it looks like she was floating and things like that. So we were behind the scenes branding this young lady, but make no mistake, we were the brainchilds behind it. So
yeah, that's what I'm talking
it
about.
took
See, I
us
know you always undersell. Yeah, yeah. But walking in a room and like that, that sounds like Corey. And he's the one that comes in and people just gravitate and want to know that brother. So anyway, so going from there, the other thing too, Monica, is that don't hide behind that. You got a lot of alphabets behind your name too. What MBA, M this, M that. You know, it's not like all these skills that we went to school for aren't coming to play in the real world, and that's one of the benefit that a lot of people, if you're out there, you're getting real knowledge. Okay, not just
Mhm.
because it came from the books. No, we have practical experience in winning.
Right.
But likewise, we've been down before too, so we can tell you about that.
Hmm.
So let's get to some of the stories now. Now, you know, the turning point when it comes to turning your hustle into a legitimate business. I know there's several things that people go through, and one is the decision, really understanding that, like Corey was just talking about. Hey, man, I'm done with this. Uh, I'm tired of them putting me on assignment. I'm stuck in a hotel for 2 or 3 weeks. I can't get home. My life belongs to somebody else. I got to do something. And then, so he wanted to have his life back in his personal time. Other people find the ability where I don't want to have a limited financial outlook. But then we have others that, you know, as we say, nothing happens till you jump in the water, right? So when people jump in, a lot of times people don't legitimately jump in. Now, what I mean by that is, hey, when do I set up a bank account? When did I set up a bank account? How did I go about that? How did I register my business? What are the tax implications? So let's talk about some of that. When, Corey, when did you decide, at what point did you decide, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and license the name and do all these other little things to make my business legitimate? At what point would you recommend that some folks out here are just really got a side hustle and, hey, now I need to take it to the next level?
Well, okay. Well, a couple of things. One is, as much as I talked about, I want that flexibility and autonomy. One thing I will say is that don't be misled, because you think that's what's going to happen, but when you actually jump out there, you realize you really have to work for that. And any opportunity you're looking to go into, make sure that it's aligned with, if you want something that where you want a lot more time with family or personal time or whatever, then make sure that whatever you're pursuing or you're building allows you to do that. I think a lot of times people get misled and they think that I have all the time in the world and everything else, but at the end of the day, there's no sick time. There's no there's no vacation. We all had a 9 to 5, and there's days where you have low productivity and water cooler conversation and everything else. And those times there's none of that. I mean, you can do it. You could talk on the phone all day, but it's going to impact your pockets, and you feel that, and you feel that. So that's something I just want to make sure that everybody understands. But in terms of, to get back to your question, Rob, in terms of when I got set up, I started setting things up because I had a passion. But one thing I task everyone with is, don't be blinded by your passion. Understand that everything is a business and you have to approach it as such. If you don't have a way of really monetizing it, then that's fine, enjoy it, and then it's a hobby. And then when you start to understand how to really monetize it, then you can look at doing something professional. But nobody's perfect, and the route that I went wasn't perfect. And what I did is I set up, I already had my name. I was doing a lot of things to prepare myself to make the leap at some point. Really wasn't doing anything that was translating into real money. But from a tax standpoint, there's some things that I did to incorporate myself to create some tax shelters and things like that. So that's why some of those things were already set up. When you go and get a bank account, you need to have a business in order to set up a legitimate business account. So that's one thing that, often is in terms of steps that you need to do, whether you want to or not, because if you're going to have an account associated with anything, then that's something that the bank asks for. So that's kind of necessary to be able to do that. So sometimes when do I get my name? Well, you get your name when you get your bank account. I mean, because you can't do one without the other. And then in terms of the different things, in terms of how you're paid and things like that. Now, in terms of business licenses and everything else, I'm not legal counsel or anything like that. But I feel like once you have somebody that can potentially shut down, or once your business is exposed, or you, in other words, you realize what you need when you need it, right? Like I said, you realize that you need to register your name when you have to get a bank account. You'll start to see, as you start to move and you start to generate income, and want people to pay you, then you begin to understand that. But also it becomes the type of thing where when you think about business structure, oftentimes, I think that's something that, as you're formulating your business, to really think about. We're based out of California. Whether you have an LLC or a corporation is $800 a year, right? Somebody I was talking to brought up a good point. Whether you're a Fortune 500 company or a small business getting started, you're still going to have to pay that $800. So then that's one of those things where you want to look at other states to see what their costs are, and then also you want to look at your state in terms of what it is to be able to run a business inside that's based inside that state, that's based out of another state. I believe the term is domestic foreign corporation. So I mean, those are some things that you just want to make sure that you understand as you start to formulate it. Did I answer your question? Because I just went off.
Yeah, yeah, you went a couple places. Let me jump in on a couple things real quick, because I think you hit one that comes up often. Just so everyone knows, there's a lot of folks that go to LegalZoom, and of course they're going to say, I have so many people to come, and I'm going to get an LLC, and that's a limited liability corporation. And like Corey said, you don't need that protection. You just need to start a sole proprietorship initially until you really need the protection, because that $800 a year, they ain't playing with it. Okay, I have to cut a check next week for 800. Right? I don't necessarily want to, but I'm happy because I have the protections. My business is big enough where I need that protection. When I give you a quick story about that, getting LLC, my accountant waited till we were making over $800,000 a year before he said, okay, Rob, now go get the LLC. Now it's time. I would ask him, we got 400,000. No, not yet. 600,000. No. Finally, we got over 800,000. Yeah, now's the time to get it. Okay, so realistically, if you don't have anything you're started, what are you protecting? So you don't need that. So sole proprietor. Another thing, when you start, do initial web search, right? So you want to, before you do your name, because you want to make sure that if someone has a web address, there's a lot of people that come up with similar ideas. And you have to make sure as you name your business, and likewise, look at those domain names and do that search. And then you go and do your fictitious name search and things of that nature, pull that together. And then another thing what Corey is talking about is when you're in a business, and I'm going to take it somewhere else in a minute. I'm going to get to Monica first, and then we'll get into the next piece. We're going to talk about relationships with business, because people, there's a lot of couples out here, and people have to understand how that's going to work or not work. Okay, so as you're going through the everything starts with planning and having a plan. You just don't wake up one day. Even if you got a side hustle, you got to start planning. The lady that I'm coaching now, we've been at this thing for probably 5 or 6 months. She's ready to launch, however, she doesn't have her product. Her product isn't ready, but you can still launch the business, and we'll talk about that momentarily. So let's go to Monica. Monica, when you got started with your daughter and some of the other hustles, at what point did you decide, hey, I need to get a EIN and do something separate and create the right a banking relationship? And what did you think about having a banking relationship, and how did you choose a bank? Was it an existing relationship? What did you think?
Well, for me, I did mine not as an LLC. It was mostly a sole proprietorship, because I didn't have any dreams of it going any bigger than just staying contained with my daughter. But I did coach her on getting an LLC, setting up a bank account, making everything legal, so that that she was looked at as a legitimate business. Because here in Atlanta, you always have to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. People will do their homework on you to make sure that you're legit, that you're a business. They will even look you up if you say, my name is Everlasting. They'll look that up to see if you're a legit business and you have your LLC. And so for her, it was really important to make sure that she had her business in order, her taxes. We have a tax accountant. We also have an accountant that just does her books. So just keeping receipts, which is what she did the first year for business in 2017. They charged us a lot of money to get all those receipts in order, because she didn't have an actual checking account that was a business account. She had her personal account, and she was trying to keep everything from a business standpoint, half a personal, half business, and it was a nightmare. So the consultant said, hey, this is what we need you to do. You need to get an actual business account, so that way when you file your taxes, is very smoothly. So that was the transition. That first year of having to spend over $1,000 trying to get all these receipts where they looked legit, and she wasn't, because it was like commingling of the funds, so that she didn't have to be audited, because once you start getting audited as a small business, they stay on you. So that was the turning point.
Okay. You know, one of the things that you said there with the web search, I think is critically important for everybody to understand. And particularly if you're going to be a nonprofit as well. Every time you fill out a grant for a nonprofit, and they get your application, they go to your website to see that, okay, are you lying? Okay. So if you don't keep your website updated and you're out there asking for grants, they're gonna go right to your website and they're saying, yeah, they lying, you know, because it's not updated. Your website is your report card. If it's on your website, then that means that it's real, because somebody took the time to go ahead and post it and make this information available, and it's public. So a lot of times, trust me, we had a stale website one time, filed for a grant, but I felt like a loser. It was, you hate to lose. This is supposed to be easy, but everybody says, oh, this is a layup, right? Okay, my layup got blocked. I felt like a big time loser. But that's how you learn, right? So we can share that information today. All right, there's a couple things that you guys hit on that are important. So we talked about the web search, the tax ID. I'll throw one thing in before we switch gears here. When, as Monica was talking about, accounting relationships are much more important than the legal ones, especially a startup. If a lot of people want to run to a lawyer and this and that and the other. You got your business plan. If you have legal issues that really need to be decided, then that's the right time to go to seek counsel. But just to start a business and to look for funding and structure and things like that, work with the accountants. They want your business relationship. They are hand in hand with the bankers. One of the most difficult things you're going to find is trying to get a line of credit or to have a banking relationship that's willing to give you money. But you have to, it's just like being on Shark Tank. You can't just come up with a business plan and expect everybody else to put their money in. People want to see what you have done with your money to get this thing. So everybody on here probably knows how to hustle some sort of way, but you got to get your hustle to a certain level, then you can, to legitimize it so you can get other people's money. And then you want to make sure that, and there's ways that we can do that. This whole session, man, we can talk about, there's hours of this conversation. We will definitely put something else together on it. But let's switch to another part, because Corey, you and I were in Vegas and we saw magic. And when it comes to, you said earlier, you said it's all a business. All these relationships, everything, it is a business. There's a business relationship. There's a lot of people who have romantic relationship, husband and wife. I had a good partner who told me that he and his wife sit down every year and they have a business meeting, in January. They wait a couple of days after and they talk about they set their goals for the year. This is as a husband and wife couple, and hey, they're going to put certain things on the table. Certain things they aren't going to be on the table, and they'll go back and forth for about a week, and they'll lock down their plan. And he said, Rob, after a while, he goes, after all, marriage, it is a business. You can't just lay in the bed and have sex all the time. And at some point, we got to really, plan our life and what we're going to do. It is, and then you have others that, they get all upset about that and get all sensitive because they see the romantic side of it. But if you look at having a business and then having a partner who is supposed to be your spouse, your lover, your friend, and your time, you can't just have a relationship and you got a payroll to do, you got people to pay. You got to be the right person who really understands that. And I think what Magic gave us some tips on how he deals with his family. Go ahead, Corey, talk about it.
Well, as far as what Magic has said is that he says he doesn't deal with his family. That's what he said. He said he doesn't deal with his family. He makes enough money to pay his family well so that they don't impact his business. Probably it'll be a lot cheaper should the business be successful, and then you have some disgruntled people and discontent within the family, and you have to work it out that way. The thing about relationships, just like anything else, you have to protect yourself. At the end of the day, it's a business. A lot of, with everything going on and the fact that you're able to leverage certain things about your business. A lot of times people are having partnerships for that reason. So, and then in terms of the percentage and everything else. So if it's a woman-owned small business, you know that the woman has to be 51%. So your wife has to be 51% and be able to demonstrate that she's, you know, definitely that controlling interest. And then the husband's at 49%. So, you know, you just have to really understand that. If you do that, again, protect yourself. Understand what I believe I was listening to Gary Keller on a podcast, and he says, you know, he doesn't make an agreement, he makes a disagreement. At what point is this not going to work? And how do we work through that, as opposed to talking about an agreement? Because when an agreement, everything is fine, you're not worrying about it. So it really comes down, I can't stress that enough, just protecting yourself, being honest and transparent about what your goals and everything else is. But if it's something not a brother, a cousin who just wants to get on and you want to give them a job, it's probably not worth it. Better off to just make more money and just pay your brother or cousin or something like that, just enough so that they're satisfied, but not to impact your business and make them a part of it, because it'll be much harder to get it out. And then if they sabotage your business, then what you're going to do? Because your business is compromised.
Agreed. Monica, you want to add?
No, I would agree with Corey, because my daughter and I, we both have separate businesses and things like that, so we don't commingle with anything. I help her, she helps me, but I'm not a part of hers and she's not a part of mine. I know how she can be and she knows how I can be, so it works separately.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about multiple businesses. You know, some of us have multiple businesses. I know for me, I have about 4 different businesses, and I have, you know, and I also have partnerships and so on and so forth. And but people have to understand there are tax liabilities, and there are some benefits of taxes in, you know, when we start dealing with having a legitimate business. So when you're doing a hustle, you're out there hustling and hey, I'm a sole proprietor, or I'm an independent contractor. I got my money all in one account, and this, that, and the other. Okay, certain banks you're gonna have trouble with, especially if you try to play that card where you don't establish an official business relationship. I'll speak of one. I know Chase Bank Analytics. They to Chase Bank, you're a crook before you're before you're a legitimate person. They trust no one. I know they probably didn't trust their mama over there. They Chase Bank is going to check everything. You can't even put, you know, any cash over $100, or, you know, I think actually they shut that down altogether, where you can't deposit cash. If you had a landlord, you're trying to pay your rent, and it was $50 or $100. Now, if it's not a paper check, you can't do it. There's a lot of things that you have to look at nowadays, but part of it, I would say, you really don't get many benefits of being a business owner until you create a business banking relationship by, you know, getting that EIN number, which is pretty simple. You go to the irs.gov and, you know, look and find an EIN number. It takes about I hadn't done it in years, but it doesn't take long, and they'll just give you a number, and you're away you go. Then you can do that, file your statement, go to the bank, you start your banking relationship. But hey, if you're buying tires on your car and this is your primary vehicle for your business, I mean, you can write that off. Your registration, there's a lot of different things. Anybody want to talk about some of those things? We'll go with that. Jump in, Corey. We're missing your
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry, there's a lot of different tax benefits. You know, that's a relationship you have with your accountant. Understand that, you know, when you're a sole proprietor and you start to make a decent amount of money, you understand that when you try to, all right, so everybody has different goals for their businesses. If you're working a 9 to 5 and it's additional income, then you may want to stay underneath the radar because it's just something to augment your income. If this is something that you're going to dive into 110%, what's going to happen is you got to understand that typically when you're really trying to do a lot of different things like buy a car, buy a house, you have to have some sort of record. That record comes down to how much money you make, and that's something that you have to report on your taxes. So then it becomes a different thing. Understand, as a sole proprietor, you're going to have to pay that self-employment tax. That's why people have corporations and everything else. When you have an LLC, you could do it as you have some flexibility with that, as well as a corporation. I'm not an accountant, but that's why everybody's stressing to have the relationships with an accountant. The other thing is that when it comes down to getting money and going to the bank, you really want to make a relationship, as Rob had described, with that person in the bank. It's an energy thing for me. I've had my challenges with Chase, but you go into some of the other banks, they have the business specialists. Some are better than others. Some are really there to help you grow your business. That's who you want to gravitate towards because, you'll go through the process. You'll try to get a corporate card. You may not be able to get a corporate card. You might have to get a secure card to get started. They'll show you how to do that. If you really start to need money for your business, there's lenders that will work with you and allow you to grow and show you how to work with your accountant in terms of what they need to see. So that way, when it comes time for you to get bigger money, then you have that opportunity and they'll make you presentable to the bank so that you have a better success. But again, that starts with a solid business relationship because all these business specialists have partners for the lenders as I'm describing that you can do. The other thing is a lot of times if you're running a restaurant, you need to do the research and understand which banks give to restaurants because at the end of the day, they'll make sure that your business plan is where it needs to be in order to be able to give you money. And they feel more confident. Sometimes some banks, if they're not familiar with concepts or certain businesses, they're not going to give you money because they don't know how that works. And at the end of the day, they lend you money at an interest to be able for you to pay it and pay on that interest. If you're not going to be able to pay or default, or they feel your business is not going to be successful, they're not going to give you that loan to begin with.
Yeah, I mean that's real. And then you have to look at there's other sources as you begin to scale, and scaling is critical. At one point, I remember having a tremendous growth year, and then I had I had a banking partner who was, we had a great relationship, but it was a time when the economy was failing. He went on vacation. He said, Rob, okay, how much you need? Told him, he said, no problem. This is a slam dunk. When I get back from vacation, this is the first thing I'll take care of. So he's going to extend my line of credit. Next thing you know, the regulators came down and changed all the rules. So he couldn't do it. And he went upstairs and talked to, he was upset because he was also kind of a partner. But when the regulators change the rules are the rules, because you get audited, that's going to be a big deal. So he didn't really have a choice. He had to let me down, but I had waited for him, and now I got payroll to run, and I'm going to be short. And then another time where at this particular point, I got to come up with $90,000 in a few days. Okay, and I got 140 something people to pay, and I need $90,000 in a few days. God is all I'm going to say about that one is God is good, and we'll leave it right there. But there's other times when I got a new business partner, she didn't believe me. Oh, you're only going to need this, right? So she's telling me, oh, you're only going to need 200,000, and now I'm sitting here, lady, I run this business every day, and all of a sudden we came up, and then she ended up having to move my stuff to 300,000. But likewise, I went to U.S. Bank, and they were courting my business. He's only going to offer me, oh, I can offer you like, maybe 125. Well, that's irresponsible, right? If you're running $1 million business, I'm going to have $125,000. That's not enough. But there's some other things we need to get to. So I want to do that. Monica and I were talking yesterday as we shift gears, and she was talking to someone, and I like the point of view on it, okay, because everything has a point of view. And this, she was talking about a woman that had started one place and she set some goals up to get somewhere else. So you want to tell that story?
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people can relate to that. We got some good energy off that one.
Okay. So basically, I was doing a talk show here in Atlanta that's called the ATL Hustle. And so I had one of the guests who came in. She went to an HBCU, Savannah State, and she majored in accounting. And so she got her CPA. So by day, she was a CPA, but the bag wasn't as much as she wanted. And so therefore, she decided that she was going to dance at night. So she kept her day job and her night job.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You got me back into it. She gonna dance at night. Okay, talk to me.
Dance at night. So yeah, she was a professional exotic dancer at night. And that was how she actually secured the big bag. Because for her, it was always about not being that CPA, which was something like her family wanted her to do. But she didn't let her family know about the night job. But she said what she did, she had a plan that was an exit plan. So she said that was number one. She only wanted to be in it 18 months. And then she said she made sure that she did two things. She said she never did any private parties, and she always kept her legs closed. And then she said she went around and she made sure that she met all of the key players, because after work, bankers, lawyers, they all come in, to just kind of relax and detox.
You can't be telling that. It's a family. Don't be telling on these gentlemen.
So anyway, so what she did was she made sure she got a lot of business cards, and when she exited out of the dance world in 18 months, she said she became a multimillionaire in terms of being a real estate agent. So she's big time here in Georgia. She really is.
She made sure she didn't look directly into their eyes. That's what it was.
Yeah.
She started falling in love and catching feeling. No, I gotta look that way. No, right? That was the third thing.
She's a classy lady. I mean, you would never. When I first met her, I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong. This cannot be the stripper, because in your mind you think of a stripper coming in and they have on the heels and they're exotic and a lot of tattoos. And she danced at Magic City, but she said that wasn't her.
I just put a phone number to the side. We can talk to her later. Anyway, I think I'm in love already. A woman that knows how to plan her bag like that and get out. Anyway.
Yeah. But it's about, you can have a hustle with a 9 to 5. You really can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. But here's the other thing too. This is I think this is important for a lot of people that are listening out here are going to see this. There's a way, and this is where we're going to go next. The financial piece of this is important. If you establish a business, you need to figure out how you're going to have your financial reserves for your business. So I learned when I worked for an Australian firm, the CEO of the company that I worked for, man, he started off, he had money in the money market, which really nowadays, that was back in the day. Money market is not paying much at all today. But he also had money in the market. So he put money in the market for that money to grow. And then as he made money, sometimes he would take it off the table and continue to build his reserves. So we call that working capital. So if your money, and just like when you go to work, if everybody's working regular 9 to 5, we want to make sure your money is working, while you go to work. If your money is not making money, right? If your money is sitting there in Wells Fargo, Chase, or wherever, B of A, and you're in a passbook savings account making 0.000.83, means you're not even making 1 cent. That money's just sitting there, and then if you don't have enough in there, they're going to hit you up with fees. They're the only one making money off of you. So part of it is we need to figure out how to make sure that we're, part of playing the long game is making sure that you got the financial piece down. So you can invest some of your money into the market for your business, and set it up that way as well. Corey, you want to jump in real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you some of the stuff that Monica did early on. So you guys, I'm gonna go back to where it was then, and we're gonna give you some information on where some of these picks that Monica came up with, where they are, now. So go ahead, Corey. You want to hit on that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of for personal, I know that I've dived into stocks and other things. But for my business, it's really trying to be responsible. You oftentimes, as you're formulating your business, just because you're trying to bring down your tax liability, it's kind of easy to kind of set up reserves because you try not to pay yourself. And as you start to formulate your business, you understand that and really understand that, you want to have money to grow. It's not as soon as you make, you go and spend it. You really have to be responsible because a lot of different things happen, especially look at COVID, right? A lot of people are scrambling around trying to get different money and different funding for their businesses, to do that. Also, it's a matter of understanding how to take advantage of different opportunities when they're presented to you. So when you start to understand what has happened with the PPP and the EIDL and all those other types of loans, a lot of companies have reached out for them, whether they needed them or not. And I think that's one of the things that you have to be mindful of. Like in terms of the grant for the EIDL, it's a grant. They'll give you up to $10,000. I'm not sure if it's still available. I know the loans are still available, but the advances may not still be available. But as I tell everybody, as you apply for that, and be able to back it up, but you have 10 employees, because that's going to allow you to get $10,000. If you're a sole proprietor saying that you have one employee and a whole bunch of independent contractors, you're only going to get $1,000 advance, and that's facts. Understand that, the loans that they are providing are for 30 years. The interest rate's roughly about 4%. And, it's strict guidelines because it's supposed to be used as an emergency. But, with everything going on, if you have a chance to, certain banks and lenders, you might have a better opportunity to get money for your business that you need to grow than going into the bank and making that happen. And if you have to use it for its not intended purpose, then you ask for forgiveness. But understanding our strict guidelines that they, in the language, as a part of that loan, and you're going to have to figure out and make the best decision for your business. But if there's money available, you have to go after it. Especially as, like I said, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's just like anything else. There's many opportunities. That's why businesses move their warehouses and everything to other cities, because there's tax benefits and things like that. So you really have to plan and keep an open mind and be able to take advantage of those opportunities as they become available.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, I tried to talk Corey out of one, and we went around months and months, and I'm trying to talk him out of a move, and it ended up being a real good move. But that's part of it. You got to have a circle though too. And in the end of the day, he had to make a decision what was best for him, and it worked out. Now going into the money making aspect of things, working capital, working money, whether you're an individual, and like I said, either way, you're a CEO of your own personal services corporation. You don't like the job you're on, guess what? Fire yourself, right? You're not making enough money, whatever else. You can talk to them, but at the end of the day, if you're in sales, guess what? You're the saleswoman, you're the salesman. Get your hustle, figure out how to advance your skills or put more time in or whatever you need to do, or get on another horse. But part of that is we need to make sure that we have working capital. We have money that's working. When you join the business growth group, one of the things we want you to do is play the long game. We don't want you coming in, and I'll give you a funny story about my son recently. He got into Robinhood and put $200 in and bought some stock. Then he looked the next day, he lost $12, so he sold it all. I'm like, man, what is wrong with you? That's not how this goes down, right? Because when you do that, you're gonna have to become they're gonna trader after a while. They'll let you get away with it for a while. not long. And they're going to ask you to put, now you're going to be restricted, and they're going to ask you to put $30,000 up front. So you want to do that. We're talking about having working money. So I'm going to give you some of the picks that Monica gave. And we've been doing this for a while. So March 23rd, she had ACB, Aurora Cannabis, and that the symbol is ACB. It was $8.20 then. As of July 10th, it's $12.02. We had, I picked Bed Bath & Beyond back then. It was $4.46 then. It's $8.19 now. You almost double your money. Halliburton back then, which is oil and gas, HAL is the symbol. It's $5.24 then. It's $12.06 now. VXRT, Monica, I bought back on March 23rd. It was $1.85. Where did you get it, Money?
I got it at 97 cents.
She got it at 97 cents. She didn't kiss and tell until it was $1.85, and then I got it, and it was $7.98 now. So we made a boatload of money off. She made a lot of money on that. Under Armour back then was $7.14. Right now it's at $8.63. All right, wait till college football starts, if it is able to start. But these things, you got to load up on this stuff now because you're playing the long game. Ford Motor Corporation, March 23rd, it was $4.01. Right now it's at $6.10. Denny's was, the symbol is DENN. March 23rd, Denny's was $5.91. Right now it's $8.87. Now here's the funny one. Netflix, back then, March 23rd is $357.32. Today it's $548. Okay. Facebook was $148.10 on March 23rd. Today it's $245. Okay. Delta Airlines, Monty got, where did you get it, Monty? Delta.
Let's see, I got it at $10.
Okay, she didn't. Of course, she kept that one to herself for a while because when I got hip to it, it was $2 on March 23rd. It was $22.70. Today it's $27.09. JetBlue back then was $6.86. Now it's $10.60. And then Spirit Airlines, Monica gave me this one, and it was $9.83 on March 23rd. Now it's $17.53. Where did you get it, Monty?
Around that $8 time. Yeah, $8.50, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the idea, we're going to keep track of these things because we want to make sure that you guys, hey, and we'll put these on the site, but we want you guys to understand, and we'll do some of the math behind this. So if you look at, if you bought X amount of shares back then, what it would be now. But it's not too late. You got to take advantage. Nothing will happen until you take action. All right. Let's get ready to transition. So let's go back through a couple things. I did see one question come through LLC versus sole proprietor. Tell us what's the difference between an S corp versus a C corp. Okay. Okay. So I think what people know is the LLC. I think Corey talked about that, and then sole proprietor. Sole proprietor is just an individual employee, individual business owner, one person. I'm taking care of everything. The limited liability company is going to provide you extra tax shelter, extra tax, not just tax, but it's going to provide you extra protection against lawsuits and other things, almost like a corporation. So your personal assets are protected. And then S corporation versus C. Anybody want to tackle that? Now that will. Go ahead, Corey. You look like you're ready to jump in.
Yeah, I think unless you're like a major corporation, then you don't need to even bother or be concerned about a C corporation. Most small businesses and sole proprietors that go the corporation route often utilize the S corporation. there's certain, I'm not exactly sure, but there's certain things that in terms of the amount of with your members and your board, they're a lot more strict at the C corporation level than at the S corporation. It's a lot more flexible. And like I said, most people that have small businesses or sole proprietors that are graduating, so to speak, they go that S corporation route.
Okay, I'll jump in and we'll go to our MBA friend over there. So one of the things with the C corporations, trust me, I had folks that were accountants are really mad because I was working with a group that does business structures, and they are really focused on establishing C corporations. And the accountants were pissed, like, Rob, who are you talking to? They're telling you this and this, that, and the other, because it's easy to transfer money, but when it comes time to take money out, the taxes are a lot heavier on a C corporation. So a lot of times you establish a C corporation if you want to have, let's say, a holdings company. So you can have a holdings company that, hey, this is a company here, we're going to run these particular brands or whatever through here, and they're not going to be as popular as something else. And then you have other companies that are downstream. Let's say, for instance, you're owning a shirt company, and then over here I have a couple Taco Bells. So the shirt company is in the holding company, and then downstream we have, hey, own 2 Taco Bells and with 1 Massage Envy and this and that and the other. So the holding company will take a portion of the money can go to always gets paid to the holding company. But likewise, you can transfer money around, but when you start to take money out, the taxes are heavier. So really, like as Corey said, you don't want to fool around with a C corporation until you really are doing big business, lots of it. There are some advantages. Let me give you one last thing before we get into the live questions. There are some things that you can do in rules of a corporation. I have a guy who's a mentor to me. He and his wife, what they do, they have a business, they put the business rules together, and their thing is they work over 8 hours a day. Any day they work over 8 hours, they both are entitled to a $50 per diem per day. So what that allows them to do, generally they'll plan on working 8.5 hours that week every day. Okay, so that allows them to pick up extra $250. That means they can take tax-free out of the business. They can take $500. They're each getting $250 that week, so they can take $500 a week out of the business tax-free. So that's taking $2,000 a month that they are able to do tax-free because, hey, per diem isn't taxed. So there's a lot of different business rules that you can do, and we'll get into a lot of this stuff, man. If you just stay in the group, you'll make money. We'll figure out. We'll provide you some advice, and then the way we do things here is, hey, as you get into coaching and other stuff, if it's not a area of expertise, we'll push you to someone that has experience in those particular realms. We're not going to give you information that's off the back of a milk carton or something. Okay. All right. So Brandy, let's go with questions, Brandy.
No one's submitted any questions as of yet.
Okay. All right. So I had a couple questions that came through. One of them is, when should you launch an official business? When should you launch an official business, Corey or Monica?
I would say when you feel that the time is right for you to focus on that business. And if it's something that you've been passionate about and you've tested the waters to see if it's something that may be out of the box. I mean, sometimes people have similar businesses and things like that, but a lot of times people like things that are different. Because like yesterday, I was telling you about this lady who had come up. She lost everything in California due to a fire. She's always been a vegan. And then she moved here to Atlanta. She didn't want to start up the same type of business. So what she did was she started up a business that was from a food truck. She still wanted to stay in the food, and she came up with this really bright purple truck, and she decided to name her business Slutty Vegan, and she called her associates sluts. And so everything on the menu had the name of a slutty dish. And people, she got a few celebrities like Lil Wayne and Lil Jon that started eating it, eating her food and saying, hey, this is really great. And so she did a different type of marketing. She decided to do her marketing on Instagram, and she told people every day where the Slutty Vegan truck was going to be. And people were lined up for hours just to get some of her slutty food. So I mean, and that's what she said. This is slutty food, but it was a branding promotion tip that worked. And to this day, she has not had anything impact her business in COVID. So it's about thinking outside of the box, something different. And even though you may have lost it all, don't be afraid and let fear set in to try something again across the country, because she moved basically from the West Coast to the East Coast to start all over again. And, she was a millionaire when she lost everything and had nothing but a bus ticket. And she came here and became a millionaire again. So she did it twice.
Good, excellent. So Corey, anything? When do you think you should make your official launch? And you have a certain dollar amount. Hey, my side hustle is now making 10 grand. 5 grand. What do you think?
I mean, I think it depends on the individual. What is your goals, and what do you define as an official business? Because I think that if your goal is to just make some additional money that's not going to be taxed or something like that, you could have a legitimate business in your eyes and it still satisfy everything that you need. If you're looking to make that a full-time move, then and you need some level of comfort, then the dollar amount that you need to make is what you need to make to cover your expenses, what you need in case for an emergency, and also you need to be able to live your life. So if you do have that time that people think that you have that you really don't have, but you need to make sure you schedule, then you need to be able to do things during that time. And whatever that dollar amount comes to, if you're able to do that and you're a person that is easily worried and gets anxious, then that's the time to start it, is when you have that number that you know that you can achieve, where you're not going to be stressing different things. If you're not worried and you're not easily frightened, then whenever you're ready, you're ready. I just say when you start to know that you can start to generate income, because whether it's $1,000 or $2,000, you understand what you need to do to get it 4 or 5 or 6. So that might be the point that you're ready to go. But it depends on everybody's level of comfort and what your number is.
Well, I'm gonna say something a little different. I have a lot of students that are grinding and hustling and things of that nature. I'm thinking if you're really going to, even if you got a sideline barbecue, and I know I've had some families that do barbecue on the side, and they'll have they'll do the taco stand, and on the weekend doing private parties, and they do the taco hustle. But hey man, these guys at times they're making $2,000-3,000 a month. Okay, but if you're going to do that, in some cases, and if there's going to be some benefits where now I can buy my food at the food wholesaler, now in my truck I'm using all the time to drag my equipment around. Now I bought this equipment to do this, and now I'm making a regular every month. I'm doing so many taco gigs or whatever. Hey, then at that point, it's probably better to go ahead and make your business official and get a banking relationship, so you can take full advantage of the tax write-offs, the mileage, and all the other things that go along with that. Two, you're going to want to have the insurances to make sure you have the protection. A lot of people do business and they have no insurance. You got to be very careful now, especially in COVID. People get sick, right? And you see some of these pastors around, and everybody says, "Oh, it's cool. We're going to do this." All of a sudden, somebody gets sick. Guess what? They're coming for you. So you got to be very careful, no matter what your business is. Make sure that you have the right protections and you have the right statements. All right, got another question from someone. It says private foundation versus public charity, benefits, pros and cons. I have a foundation. I can talk a little bit. Monty, you're the business. I forgot whether UVA or whatever. I can't tell. I'm gonna throw you under the bus.
No, I
So
didn't have MBA. I just had the MBA.
yeah, okay. So the private foundation is relatively easy to start. Now, there has been some scuttlebutt over the years because of the politics of this and that and the other. I had a lady who's a friend of mine. Her and her partner started a nonprofit foundation, and their stuff went relatively quick. Mine, for some reason, man, it took like 5 or 6 months, time and time again, dealing with the IRS. It should only take about roughly, in most cases, 2 to 3 weeks, and you get your what we call as a letter of determination back. When you have that private foundation, what you have to understand is that's the starting part. You're going to get your federal recognition first. That still does not allow you to deal with, you have to go back to your state and get them to recognize your foundation in that particular state. The state is a pain in the gazoo. They have a lot of rules, and they, just like we have this website, I can't think about it, so everybody puts their stuff up on there, any events they're having. I can't even think of the name of the website, but I know in California, they troll that to see, who's having what, and if you're a nonprofit, are you charging, and so on and so forth. You have to pay the state attorney general's office $25 a year. I mean, they have all sorts of little things. And if you slip up one time and you don't file something, then they shut you down, and you got to go back and they hassle you. And it takes about 5 or 6 months to get attention. So as far as the nonprofit foundation, easy to start. Pay attention to the state rules and regulations. Very strict. You got to find someone who understands that the state that you're in, that understands that lane pretty well. Okay. Now the other one. Anybody want to jump in on that real quick? Public charity.
No, I don't have any background in that.
I don't have any background in that one either.
Okay. Yeah. The public charity is still going to be it's still going to be a 501c3. So a public charity is the same, right? You can have a private foundation. So and nowadays your foundation can have an endowment. I know we set one up. It's really easy. Harvard has an endowment. Stanford, a lot of these different schools, they may have an endowment and things that they set up. And a public charity is just another way of doing it. I don't even want to speak on it because I don't have the background on that, and we don't want to give you any bad information. But I tell you what, we'll get when we do our next call or during the week, we'll post some of that information. We'll get the information, put it out there, so at least you guys have that, and get that information to you. All right, Brandy, anything else come in?
There's two. One of them is, if you can describe your hustle or entrepreneurship in one word, what would it be and why?
Go ahead, Corey. I see you leaning.
Oh, I was thinking passion. Passion, because most of the things that I've done or gravitated towards have been because something that I feel strongly about, and I kind of let that guide me. Whether my first passion was time and flexibility, and just other interests along the way. Sorry, Rob.
No, I would say competitive, because when I'm going in, I know I'm competing. I want to cut your head off because we know who we know who we're going up against, and it's brutal. But if you don't win, you're definitely gonna lose. I have stories I can tell you, but that's me. Go ahead, Monica. One word.
Focus. Keep eyes on the prize.
See?
Always.
Yes. Okay. Good. Go ahead, Brandy.
And the last question was, um, what should I do if I don't have the personal or financial support of friends and family when it comes to starting a business?
You join the business growth group.
Yeah.
You can work with like-minded people.
Mhm. And then I know in the beginning when my daughter started her lash business, she went to the website and just looked for investors, and she ended up having the angel investors kind of invest in the initial part of her business just to get supplies and stuff like that. And then she paid them back once she started making a profit. And it's not something that is considered long term that you have to stay with the angel network, but that's what she did. She went out to get private investors. These were investors that she didn't know. So it took the headache out of trying to ask family for help. And then they ask, well, why you want to do this? Why don't you just get a 9 to 5? Why can't you be like everyone else? And, why do you want to do this yourself? So that was a way for her to get confidence and get the capital to buy what she needed to be up and running.
Can you put that put some of that information in the space this week, Angel Invest? Because I think yeah. So for the group, people who are part of the group can benefit from that probably.
Sure.
Corey, any thoughts, Corey? You're on mute. You got to come off mute. We couldn't hear you. You're on mute. Okay, for some reason we can't hear Corey. Can you hear him, Monica? No. Okay.
I can't hear him either.
Okay.
Yeah, if you no, not anymore.
Okay, we're having a few
Can you hear me
technical.
now?
Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, if you're generating any revenue for your business, then use something like Square or like a fintech, a financial technology company like Square or PayPal, because what happens is if they see some regular activity, they'll offer you cards and everything related to your business. So you might be able to get, maybe it's $400 or $500, but that's $400 or $500 that you didn't have, and then you pay that back. And then showing good payments and the good faith in that, then they'll increase the amount again. And you can use that and leverage that to help build your business if you don't have any support any other way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap at this point. Let me go back through things. So today's show, as Monica cues up our exit music, today's show, we talked about, turning your hustle into legitimate business. I think everybody can understand there's a lot of information here, and we'll probably have to get back to this and drill down to some of the information so that people can really take advantage of some of this stuff. There's going to be a lot of people on this that are at different stages of business, so feel free to reach out to us in the group and put some things out there. It's that's what the whole thing is all about. All right, a couple things again. We're playing the long game, so as you're involved in this, make sure that we get take a long perspective. We're going to get you the information about the stock. Monica generally is the one that puts a lot of that information. We want you to be able to make money, but nothing will happen unless you put some money into the kitty. The other thing is business of the week. We we're hosting a business of the week, and we announced it on Wednesday. But if you don't submit your information by Sunday, the person right now, we have one business, they've been 2 weeks in a row because no one submitted last week. But this way, it's free pub for you to get your business out there. Brandy, you have anything you want to say about where they go to register and send that information to for business of the week?
If you want to be considered a business of the week, you can check the business growth group. It has the questions that need to be answered and submitted to the our email account.
Okay, where on the page can they find that? Is it prominent?
It's in the same post as the current business of the week.
Okay, all right, great. And so we have business of the week, and then we have Wind Down Wednesday. Corey, you want to speak on that quickly?
Each and every Wednesday, we have Wind Down Wednesdays where we meet sometime between 6:30 and 7:30, still trying to finalize the time, but as we go on, we'll be more consistent with the time. But we meet once a week to talk about a personal growth topic and sip on something, usually wine or whatever you want to bring, just to kind of wind down, get comfortable, and be open and vulnerable about discussing this week's growth topic.
Awesome. Yeah, we last week was really good, so I highly recommend that you guys come in on Wednesday for that. You don't want to miss that. It's definitely a good experience. You'll feel good about it. Get a chance to know some other people a little bit more personally, because it is a live session, so you'll be able to see others and communicate. We just ask that you keep keep your device on mute until you're ready to engage. So we have Wind Down Wednesday. We have some other things coming. We got some book reviews coming up. Gonna have a book of the month. We'll have some other things. Monica's gonna post the information about the angel investors. You'll see that this week. She's also gonna post some of the stocks so you can see how we're tracking things. But this is an engagement site. This is a place where you can help to market and find friends and help your business grow. We want you to make money. We want your business to be successful. And then money and what is it on Monday? I always mess it up.
Merchant and Money Mondays.
Merchant and Money Mondays is the day that you're able to really post about your business, put your stuff out there, collaboration, and away we go. Anybody else want to say anything about the site as we go?
No, I'm just excited. You guys need to get excited every now and then. I'll pop in and, have my live events. And I definitely appreciate you guys for watching what we're doing. And it's only going to get better. Hey, what's that song says going up?
I'm all the way up. That's right. We're all the way up. Okay. So again, tell a friend. Okay, this should be like therapy for you. There's gonna be questions. Where else can you go where you can ask people the questions you need to ask to get your hustle on, to get your business to grow, or get your money to be larger. All right, or as Monica says, I need a bigger bag. So I'm gonna work on getting me a bigger bag. So anyway,
Because my bag
all right, y'all,
wasn't big enough. $15,000 a month. That's not a big bag. I need to get and Rob's bag, looking at 50 grand a month. Now that's a bag.
I need 55, and you need 50. And that's 100 between us. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, we want to get some big bags, okay? Not a little bag. How the song go? Big bank take little bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. I'm looking forward for Business of the Week. Business Growth Group out.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.